you don't know who I am, my name is Katkov. I am the founder of UofTearless. Back in 2024, I went from my lowest grade ever, a 37%, to the top 4% of all university students in my program, while only studying 2 hours a day. So I have a list in front of me of the top 10 questions that students have asked me to solve, and I'm going to give you my best answer to them. Number 1 is, how do I deal with practice and application-based courses like math and chemistry? When you say deal, I assume you mean study for. So let's go through this. There's something I call the pre-grade framework. It goes like this. P equals prime and prepare, which basically means all of the mental priming that you do before lecture. R equals your speed of reading. So this is how fast can you internalize information. This is all before lecture. E is to engage in lectures. When you're actually in lecture, you need to take notes correctly. Don't write verbatim notes. Don't write what the professor says. Just write down what the questions are that would need to be asked for the information on the slide to answer those questions. In other words, you are categorizing the information on the slides rather than getting the explanations for the stuff on the slides, because you can always figure that out after class. But the truth is, you are tested on answering questions. The next thing is G. And G stands for generate flashcards. For a practice and application-based course, you're actually only going to do this for anything that you would need to memorize in terms of like symbols meaning something. Like, let's say in math you need to know what a certain variable meant. That would be something that you would memorize. But for the equations, usually 1, you're going to have an equation sheet, but 2, you don't really need to memorize that because it's a procedure. You're going to learn that from practicing it. R is to review it daily. And there's a certain way that you want to do this. It's what I call the 3 threes. So you need to get one question type right 3 times in a row for 3 days in a row. And then you can move to every 3rd day. And you're just going to do that until the test. A stands for arrange visually. So this is very focused for practice and application-based courses. You're going to take all of that information. You're going to write it down into a big-ass mind map. You're going to make one mind map per week, per lecture. And then you're going to combine all of the mind maps. And then week by week, you're going to add the newest mind map to the old mind map. And you're going to make a huge, mega-ass mind map, and you're going to memorize the shit out of that. D stands for drill the content. So now that you know what all the content is, you need to practice applying it. And this is when you're going to do insane amounts of practice questions. And you're going to do them using the review 3x3 method. The last one is E. This is when you're going to prepare for your exam. This is exam preparation. Now that you know what the information is and how to use it, you're going to go into your LLM of choice. You're going to feed it all of your class lectures and the practice questions, practice exams, if you have anything, literally anything that the professor has given you. You're going to ask it to generate you 2 full-length practice exams. If you only ask it for 1, it's not going to give you a comprehensive enough list of questions to practice with. And if you do 3, it's going to start to get repetitive. So I do 2. And I'll usually do this maybe once every 3 weeks. And you stick to this, you're going to have no problem when it comes to the exam. 1, because you will have done full-length exams. And 2, because you pretty much can't get any information wrong. Practice it until you can't get it wrong, rather than practicing it until you get it right. The next one is, how do I deal with memorization-based courses like biology and psychology? Memorization-based courses, I'm going to be honest, you're just going to have to do an insane amount of flashcards. For point of reference, last year, I made and memorized 13,800 flashcards during both of my semesters. And I learned about 50 new cards per day per class. And I reviewed roughly 70 to 80 cards per class per day. When you think of a flashcard, you're probably thinking a big-ass paragraph on the back. And that is the worst way to make flashcards. You want one idea per card because you only want to associate one answer with one question. And over time, you're going to develop a bank of all the questions that could possibly be asked, and you can start to apply them to the exams. You can still use the pre-grade framework, but just rely a lot more heavily on the memorization aspect of it, so the flashcards and the review, rather than the drill the content. How do I get motivated, and how can I get the motivation to start? You don't need motivation to start. Motivation can come from starting. So we tend to like things that we're really good at, but we can also learn to like things that we get good at. And if you do something enough to where you start liking it, then you no longer need motivation to do it because you will like it. For example, if I were to give you 3 types of questions and I only had you review 1 type, you would be praying that you would get that 1 type of question, and you wouldn't want to do the other 2 because you're not good at them. So that's just one example of how you can start liking something. If you do this enough with enough questions, then you will start liking studying. And for the course that you hate the most, it's probably the one that you understand the least. So if you spend more time on that course, you can actually learn to love that course. So what you can do to start any task is you need to eliminate the activation energy that's required to overcome it. So you can break it up into smaller chunks. Well, first of all, you need to look at it, because when you look at it, it eliminates the fear. Fear mainly only exists in the unknown. So if you break something up and you know how long it's going to take, your brain knows how much energy it's going to take and is no longer trying to save it all. So instead, you can break it up and you can be like, all right, I'm going to finish this small task, like walking to my computer, opening it up, and writing my student number on a blank document. Boom. Super easy to do. Then you're like, all right, I'm just going to write the topic sentence. Easy. Then I'm just going to find an article. Easy. Like, they're much smaller steps, much more manageable. Not only does it allow you to get those tiny wins, but it also allows for consistency. It also allows for clarity. It also allows you to never have to guess what you're going to do. You can also increase the importance of this, because you're not going to do something until it's important. So to increase the importance, you can just assign arbitrary deadlines to each of these, saying like, I need to finish tasks 1 through 4 by the end of tomorrow. And then the next day I need to do 5 through 7, something like that. Like, obviously it's going to have its own different timeline, but yeah, that is the main gist of it. Number 4, how do I balance school and social life? Don't balance, get contrast. Do one thing all the way until completion, then do the next thing all the way until completion. It doesn't make sense to try to do both things at once. If you are in the library chatting with people and trying to get work done, not only is it going to take you longer, but you're not going to learn nearly as much, and you're not going to give the people that you're talking to the attention that they deserve. Everybody deserves your undivided attention. That is a sign of respect. When you're in the library, study and don't talk to your friends. If you want to hang out with people too, why would you want to come to the library? That does not make sense to me. You will also get things done much faster if you just do one thing at a time. You don't want any open loops. So an open loop is any uncompleted task. You want to just do one thing, complete it, and then you can get it out of your head, and then do the next thing, and then get it out of your head. And it's way more freeing to do things that way. And you don't get overwhelmed with all of these teeny little tasks that are buzzing around your head. How do I make friends in university? University is kind of like preschool. Everybody wants to be friends with everybody else. And, we're all leaving our home communities. We're all looking for a new connection. And so you're never going to have a problem meeting new people as long as you just talk to people. Nobody's going to say no to you wanting to talk to them. They might not end up being your friend, but everybody is looking for the potential friends. And it's not hard to find your group when everybody else is trying to do the same thing. A lot of the things in university that you think you have a problem with, I can guarantee you that almost everybody else in university struggles with that same problem. You just don't know it because you don't talk to them. The bottom line for this too is that you need proximity with people. You can't just expect to meet new people by staying at home. You need to go out and do things, join clubs, talk to people in lecture, turn around and just say hi. I met my girlfriend by saying bless you in class. So anything can happen. How do I network for internship or jobs? Networking is a numbers game. You need to do so much volume that it's unreasonable for you not to get a response, and then you need to show enough continued interest that it's unreasonable for them to forget about you. You want your name to be at the top of the list. The best way to do that is by starting early. You come into university, you're like, hey, I know that I'm going to want to do research in the future. I love what you guys are doing. I'm showing interest. Like, let's say this is an email. I love what you guys are doing. I'm interested in doing this in a few years. Would you mind updating me on, or keeping me up to date on your research? People love talking about their research, by the way, like, because they're obsessed with it. So you're never going to have a problem with somebody giving you information on what they're doing, because people love talking about themselves. And if you show enough continued interest, every time they think about it, they're going to think about you, or at least when they think about other people associated with it, you're going to be at the top of their mind. And you need to do this consistently so that they don't forget about you. This is the easiest way to get your foot in the door, I guess. And then it's also about the people you know. So you could just do a lot of volume, but you also want to do a lot of volume directed at the right person at the right time. Timing is also huge. And if somebody says that they're not available or there's no positions available, it's like, this is why you start early, because then you can be like, all right, like, would you let me know when there is a spot available? Start early, be proactive, do a lot. Don't let yourself be forgotten. How do I stop procrastinating? I find this question so funny, because if you really love what you're doing, you're never going to procrastinate. But procrastination, first of all, mainly comes down to a lack of priorities. And a lack of priorities is due to a lack of self-identity. You need to know what you really love and who you truly are, and then do the things that are aligned with whatever you identify with. So if I identify with being the best student, then doing a ton of work that is going to get me to that goal has no friction in my mind. Whereas if I'm like, I'm the best gamer in the world, then I'm never going to want to study. Like, that's just the worst. It just like takes me away from gaming. You need to change your identity first, and then your priorities will shift to do the things that you want to do originally. How do I optimize my study time? Don't focus on time. Focus on the amount of things you get done in that time. Because they're studying efficiently, and then they're studying for a long time. Just because you're studying for a long time does not mean that you're getting a lot done. Discipline should not be hard. And the best way to stay disciplined is to make it really easy. Have systems in place to where it's really hard to not do the thing that you want to do. One of the best ways to leverage this thought process is through Parkinson's law, which basically means that the work is going to get done in the amount of time that you have to do it. If the thing can be done in 2 hours and you only have 2 hours, then it's going to take you 2 hours. But if you have 3 hours, it's going to take you 3 hours. So the way to get more done in less time is to shorten the amount of time that you have by filling the rest of the time with something else. And by the way, never use planners to schedule work. Use planners to schedule free time around your work, because the work is going to get done because it's mandatory, but you need to schedule free time. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So if you schedule free time around the block that you have to work to fill out the rest of that time, instead of just saying, oh, I have free time, it's like, no, I need to be taking free time from this to this time, then all of a sudden it compresses the amount of work that you have to do, and it's going to get done faster. So in terms of optimizing your study time, do more in less time. The main difference between a regular school and a more prestigious one is basically just the connections that you'll make with people. So make sure that your department is optimized for whatever it is that you want to study, but you can always change it, and you can always just switch universities as well. Nothing's final. So with that, I will leave you. If you're new to my channel, welcome to the UofTearless tribe. Be sure to subscribe for more content like this to make school suck less, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.